Hello, and thank you for watching another online video brought to you today by Low VA Rates. My name is Eric, and today we're going to be discussing some common myths and misconceptions about the VA hybrid arm loan. Now, what I hope to get out of this short little training is I would like to help anybody watching this video better understand the truth about these loans. Now, all of us kind of just naturally have this hard outer shell around us when people start talking to us about even the possibility of looking to do an adjustable rate mortgage. Now, we're not speaking specifically about adjustable rate mortgages today, but we're speaking about the VA and their specific program known as the VA hybrid arm loan. And I feel if we can overcome some of these myths and misconceptions, I actually call them lies as we go forward. And I know that's a harsh word, but you will find that there literally are greedy bankers on Wall Street who for years, via the media and via their own channels, they've been lying and just misleading us. So let's first get into what some of these lies and misconceptions are. First of all, most of us are under the assumption that our payment is going to go up when the rate starts to go up. Now, this is a lie. The fact is payments can go up and normally will go up when an interest rate increases. However, there are some situations where if used correctly in the way that we teach you here at Low VA Rates, by the time you come out of your fixed rate portion of this loan, even with an increase in your interest rate, it is possible to have a lower payment due on your mortgage. And 95% of the time, even when the interest rate goes up, your payment is still lower than it would have been if you would have stayed on your 30-year fixed rate that we hopefully have helped educate you and convinced you to refinance out of. Now, for sure, many of us also feel that there's only one way rates can go, and that's whoop, straight up. Nobody stops to think about, well, there's been a huge period in time in our history where interest rates have been going down. So this is another lie or misconception that we're all kind of preached. Well, if you get an arm, your rates are going to go up. We've got the statistics and history to prove that rates also go down, and they have been going down for about a 5 to 6 year period in most cases. If you would have been on a VA hybrid arm since about 2003, 2004, your rate would have continued to go down and down and down and down for quite some time. And of course, as your rate goes down, so does your payment. Now, a lot of us also stop and we say, well, I want to get my house paid off really fast. Therefore, I'm going to stay in a fixed rate mortgage, or maybe I'll even do like a 15-year mortgage. We have so many people asking us for 15-year mortgages. This is not even close to the truth. We will show you how an adjustable rate mortgage with the VA, a hybrid arm, actually allows you to put more money towards your principal and get your home balance paid down so much faster. Again, and there's even ways to accelerate that more so if you follow some simple guidelines that we will teach you. Probably the biggest emotional issue that people have is this idea that the 30-year fixed rate is just safer and it's better for somebody that's trying to forecast or plan into the future. Now, this is probably what I consider one of, if not the biggest of all lies perpetrated over here in the United States, specifically by the banking and mortgage industry. Wall Street loves the fact that you think that. So if you find yourself thinking that right now, well, hey, I'm one of those people. I do think the 30-year fixed rate's safer. Please keep watching. We're going to have a lot of fun dispelling that myth or that misconception. Now, let's get specific into some of these misconceptions and lies. Number one, my payment will go up when my rate starts to go up. Okay, let's look at an example here. Suppose you have a $250,000 30-year fixed rate mortgage at 4.5%. Your monthly payment is going to be about $1,175 a month. And all we're talking about is principal and interest only. We do not get into taxes and insurance, homeowners association dues, assessments. We don't get into that on this training. All we're looking at is the principal and interest portion of your payment. Now, you could also look at a $250,000 VA hybrid loan today at 2.25%. That would have a principal and interest payment of $955 a month. And this happens to be where did we go? Let's see. Okay, not real sure what happened with my slides there, but as you can see, these are not scripted videos. We like to be real natural here and just teach you guys as we go. So again, you'd be at about a $955 principal and interest payment at your 2.25% rate. Now let's just assume at the end of the 3 years the rate goes to 3.25%. So what that means is what most consumers do is, well, after my three fixed years are up, what's going to happen is I'm going to have a big increase in interest rates. My interest rate's just going to skyrocket. Well, we know from other videos it can never go up more than 1% at a time. So it goes from 2.25% to 3.25%. Your next 12 payments are still going to be $1,009 a month compared to the $1,174 if you stay where you're at today, if you're on a 4.5% interest rate. So you're still saving well over $150 a month from your original payments. Okay, yes, if you go from 2.25% to 3.25%, you are going to see an increase to $1,009 from $955. Again, we have some trainings that will show you where there are possibilities for that not to go up, but it depends what you did in that first 3 to 5 years that you were in your loan. But I want you to realize you're still $165 a month better than your original payments at the 4.5% 30-year fixed rate. Let's keep continuing here with line number 1. Let's look at a possible scenario for the next 3 years. Okay, we went to the 3.25%, then we go to 3.5%, then we go to 4%. I didn't go 3.25% to 4.25% to 5.25%, and you'll understand why as we go further into this slide presentation. That's highly unlikely and historically very unlikely to happen. So I want to look at some realistic movements in interest rates. Either way, even all the way into year 5 and your rate's at 4%, you're still $8 less than you would have been had you stayed on that 4.5% rate. Here's the real kicker. Your balance owing at the end of year 5 is going to be $220,500 on the VA hybrid arm. And remember, we started at $250,000. Okay? The balance on the same $250,000 loan where you would have stayed at the 4.5% rate is going to be $227,900. Okay, so look at how much more equity you've been able to gain by going into a hybrid loan. And we're going to talk about why that is possible and how it works here in just a few more minutes. So line number 2. Well, my rate's for sure going to go up. We hear that every single day. We're going to go over something called an index, and we have a specific training about the VA Hybrid Loans Index, or the CMT, the Constant Maturity Treasury. We'll go into detail on the Treasury Index on another slide presentation. However, let's look at what's happened with the 1-year CMT from 2001 to 2011. That's about a 10-year period. And over that 10-year period, interest rates go down, 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 up, 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 down, 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 down. And if we went further than 2011, it actually would have continued to go down. So here's just kind of a chart showing you. This one happens to go from 2004 all the way out to 2014. And you'll see interest rates do go up. And we're going to come back to this time frame when they went up from 1 to 5 over a 2-year period, right around 2007. So right around the 3rd year period, they start to come back down. We'll talk about that. But I guess while I'm on it, let's mention, had you been in an ARM at that time, if you would have been in that 3 to 5 year period of fixed rate, none of this would have even mattered because you're fixed for that period of time. However, let's say it started to adjust upwards. Then, yeah, you would have seen some ticks up, no more than 1% a year. But now look what happens if you had been in that ARM. You're still going down this entire time. And here's just kind of another chart to show you what happens. And you can pause this slide and you can start looking at some of this information. Go ahead and zoom in on it. But very rarely have we seen where interest rates have just gone up a point, and then a point. It's happened one time in history where interest rates went up a full percentage point or more over 2 years in a row, and that was one time that happened. And then, you know, it goes up, it comes down, it goes down, it comes up, just as I mentioned on our slideshow presentation. Now, we need to remember from the prior slide and from line number 1 that even when interest rates go up, which we're not trying to hide from, they will go up, and they have gone up. That does not mean that your payment will. And we're going to cover at the end of this presentation some really important protections that the Department of Veterans Affairs puts in place to ensure that we are safe and secure in these loans, okay? Let's keep going on. Line number 3, you can pay your loan off faster with a 30-year fixed rate. We hear this all the time. And again, we can go back to line number 1, that example of the 4.5% 30-year fixed rate loan. We could go back to that if we wanted to. And I'm going to do that with you right now. Give me one moment. All right, here we go. So we're going to make the following assumptions. We're going to make the assumptions that interest rates go up 1 full point at the end of year 3. So in year 4, you're up a full point, then up 0.25, up 0.5, up 0.75, up 0.25, up 0.5, up 0.25. Now, I'm going to show you where you can go and do your own hybrid loan simulation like this. But keep in mind, first of all, we've never seen any time in history on that CMT index where for we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years straight, interest rates just kept going up. So this is unlikely to ever happen. It could happen, but it's unlikely. Just as it's so unlikely that you're going to see interest rates rise 1 point, 1 point, 1 point, 1 point. Now, we have people that want to do that. And if you're basing your decisions today off of something that's never happened and is very unlikely to happen, then it's going to be very difficult for us to really go any further. So I ask you, when you go over to our hybrid loan simulator, that you use some realistic numbers. But let me show you where you go. So you're going to come over to lowvarates.com. If you come over to lowvarates.com, you can go to our Tools section. And then once you're on our web page, you come here to Tools. And then from the Tools section, you're going to go to VA Hybrid Simulator. Okay, VA Hybrid Simulator. You're going to click that. And when you click the simulator, it's going to bring you in here. And you're just going to go out and fill out step 1 and step 2. Fill out whatever you want. And then as you'll see from the slides that we just showed, I'm going to go back there right now to the slide. This here shows you what your current loan would be. At the end of 5 years, you'd owe $227,000, almost $228,000 on your 4.5% loan. Where on the hybrid loan, you'd be at $220,000. So you'd be about $7,000 or $8,000 ahead of the game 5 years in. Let's go jump down to 10 years. You've got a $200,000 balance on your 4.5% deal. Now, look also, your payment doesn't change because it's fixed. Yeah, your payment may be a little bit higher 10 years from now when your interest rate's gone up 7 years in a row. But you've also got an additional $5,000 in equity. Now, over here, the low VA rate strategy, we will do an entire video on the low VA rate strategy and why you should follow it. But just to kind of give you a little teaser, on the low VA rate strategy, your payment would only be $1,265 a month, right? And your balance would be at $175,000 if you followed our strategy. And there's some variables that change in here, but if you stick to it, we tell you how to pay your balance down way faster. So you're potentially $25,000 ahead of the game. But again, we'll get to the the low VA rate strategy in another training. So let's go into number 3 here, this lie, in a little bit more detail. First of all, you can now see that the VA hybrid arm can allow you to pay your home loan down faster if you use it correctly. I am certainly not suggesting that an ARM loan is going to allow you to pay down your balance faster than a 30-year fixed every single time. But what's interesting is our VA hybrid ARM loans are normally around 1.5% to 2% lower than the going 30-year fixed rate at the time. And as you'll see here, normally speaking, that 2 percentage points lower in interest rate does allow you to really attack your mortgage balance so much faster. Now, why can you pay your home down faster? The VA hybrid loan is re-amortized every year at the new lower balance. Okay, 30-year fixed rates, if you run an amortization schedule on a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, and you can go do this on your own over at bankrate.com or wherever else you'd like, just go to a standard 30-year fixed rate amortization, your mortgage payment is the same every month for the next 360 months. So for the full 30 years, you will be paying the exact same amount of money each month, no matter how low you get your balance paid down. Okay? That's not how it works on a VA hybrid loan. On a VA hybrid loan, it's re-amortized every single year after your fixed rate period. Now, if you guys are able to save the money from the lower interest rate and the lower payment, and you take that money and you apply it towards your balance every single year or every single month, you could pay down, and this kind of goes into that low VA rate strategy. We've been able to show people how to create an additional $25,000 to $30,000 in equity very quickly in the first 7 to 10 years on their loan. Why would that be? Well, if you don't refinance and you stay at your 4.5% rate or whatever rate you're at today, you're essentially saying, I'm fine paying what I'm paying. So we tell you to let us do our work, let us put you into a VA hybrid arm, and then keep paying what you're paying. Keep paying what your 30-year fixed rate payment has been or would be. And watch how much quicker you can start to attack that principle. It's really amazing when you look at it. Now, a 30-year fixed rate, we hear this all the time. It's better for someone to forecast or plan on the future. It's just safer. This is, seriously, this is where I started to get really animated and pretty passionate, because this is a lie. And in my opinion, this is something that the banking industry, probably more so than the mortgage industry, and specifically Wall Street, has perpetrated this sneaky lie for many, many years. And we're going to get into that right now. The 30-year loan is safer and better for me. That's a trap. So many of us think, oh, I'm just going to go take this 30-year fixed rate mortgage and I'm going to stay in it forever. This is one of the largest lies orchestrated by Wall Street. And I truly believe it's because they want to make money. That's Wall Street's job, to take care of the bottom line. And all of us go to work to make money. But we can make money doing hybrid ARM loans and adjustable rate mortgages. It's my opinion that the banks want you to feel that you might as well take a higher interest rate, because what's a higher interest rate mean for a bank? More interest payments in their pockets every single month. Now, the USA, and I am very, very patriotic. Love this country, paint my face on the 4th of July. We go to all the parades, support the troops. I am patriotic. That said, we are one of the only industrialized and developed nations that continues to push with such intensity this idea that you have to have a 30-year fixed rate mortgage on your home. Okay? Look at the entire world. Our country, our great nation, was hit harder by the mortgage collapse or the housing implosion than anybody else. That's not to say that we did not have a damaging effect on other countries, but we caused it. And it was due to Wall Street creating loans that were not in the best interest of most homeowners. Now, why would you ever want to borrow money for 30 years? There's not a single person watching this video that's going to pay on their mortgage for the next 30 years, let alone 10 years. Ask yourself, ask your neighbors, ask your family members, do you know a soul who has paid 360 consecutive payments for 30 years on their mortgage and went from the starting balance to zero? I have yet in my time ever found someone that has. And very few have ever been in it for 10 years. Okay? It's just not going to happen. We could go into an entire history lesson on when the 30-year fixed rate mortgage came to be, and it was way, way, way back in the Industrial Revolution. And when we had farmers all over the country that were buying up thousands of acres of land and were trying to literally run their land and or their home like a business. These are not the mortgages that commercial bankers on Wall Street use. These are not the loans that people are building skyscrapers with, because these people understand finance much better than you and I do. Why aren't they using 30-year fixed-rate mortgages to build shopping malls or to buy their vacation homes? It's because they understand what you're just now starting to learn. So it's time to wake up. And it's time to wake up and start doing what bankers and developers and financial savvy people do. They use other vehicles and or financial tools to accomplish what they're trying to do. There is no reason to have a 30-year fixed loan when there is no way you're going to be in that loan for the next 30 years. And we go over that concept in and of itself in a video in much more detail. But let's get into just a little bit more of this last lie and start showing you some facts and showing you where you're protected. The VA has both 3-year and 5-year hybrid ARMs, and that means they're fixed for 3 years or for 5 years. And Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac both provide data that you can go find on your own that prove We change loans every 4 to 6 years. That's why these bankers and these Wall Street guys don't use 30-year fixed rate mortgages when they're doing their own mortgages and their own loans, because they have access to this data that's not normally readily available. That doesn't mean you're not going to be in your home, by the way, for 30 years. It just means you won't be in the loan, and you can watch some of our other videos on that topic. Now, here's some of the protections that the VA gives you. Your rate will never increase more than 1% a year. So if we go back to that one slide, let me go there. Here we are back where interest rates kept going up, from just over 1% to just over 5% from 04 to halfway through 06. Well, you would never, ever in that situation see an interest rate rise of more than 1% in any given year. Okay, so this protects you from wild rate movements. And I wouldn't even have called what happened in that time frame wild, but you are protected. Your rate can also never go up more than 5% from where you started. This gives you the ability to forecast now a worst case scenario. There are other non-VA loans out there that do not have these same protections. I'm a civilian. I don't have access to this loan. Okay, this is an amazing loan for you. Again, as I said in the last slide, let's wake up. Let's start looking, at least opening ourselves to the idea that why do the Wall Street bankers and the hedge fund managers and the extremely wealthy people in this country, why do they not have 30-year fixed rates on their homes? Real quick, I'm also going to show you a couple places online where you can go and read about this. Okay, if you go and you just Google search, I Google searched Yahoo Finance 30-year fixed versus ARM rates, and there's a bunch of things that you can Google. But here's one. This was a mortgage resource article. ARMs are poised for a comeback. In addition to that, there was a really cool article. I think it is this one on Yahoo Finance. And I was really surprised to see this. I don't want to waste the time with your choice, fixed or adjustable rate mortgage. If you start reading this article, it starts talking about how ARM loans are finally making their entrance into everyday America, and it starts talking about how this idea that most people stay in their home for a long time is not true. It doesn't happen. We don't stay in our home that long. It also talks in this article about how there's some pretty low adjustments. So I guess just open yourself to the idea that 30-year fixed rate mortgage is not the only game you can play these days. Okay, and then finally, even though we don't cover this in today's slideshow, you can take literally the thousands of dollars in saved interest. We talked about the potential to save $25,000 in the first 7 to 10 years on your hybrid loan. And if you go and start attacking your high interest rate credit cards, you can literally save hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest by paying them off. Your credit card debt is revolving, and it never goes away. And we see people that are in their late 50s, 60s, and even 70s with literally $50,000 to $70,000 worth of credit card debt that they cannot get away from. Okay? Listen, here I'm just sharing with you from one of our happy past customers. We try to end most of our slideshows this way. We would love to work with you. We would love, if nothing else, if this video has intrigued you a little bit, piqued your interest, then let's talk. Get with your loan officer, and let's start asking some additional questions on how we can put you in a better loan. Maybe the 30-year fixed rate is the right loan for you, but most of the time, it's not. It just really isn't, and we can help you make that decision. So thank you for watching. Give us a call, 866-869-8272. We look forward to helping you out.